I paid for my boyfriend's medical school while he cheated with a billionaire's daughter. The day they announced their engagement, her grandfather offered me a job that changed everything. When I was 21, my boyfriend looked me in the eyes and said, "One day I'll make sure you never have to work again." I believed him. His name was Ryan. He dreamed of becoming a heart surgeon. I dreamed of becoming his wife. We couldn't afford tuition, so I worked 3 jobs: morning at a cafe, afternoons tutoring high school students, night shifts at a pharmacy. Ryan studied. I paid, for 6 years, every tuition bill, every apartment payment, every textbook, every exam fee. I told myself we were building our future. Turns out, I was building his. The week he graduated from medical school, I secretly bought an engagement ring. Yes, I was going to propose to him. Instead, I found photographs online. Ryan, kissing another woman, not just any woman, Sophia Ashford, the daughter of Billionaire hospital owner Richard Ashford. The caption read, "Future Doctor, and Mrs. Ryan Carter." I thought it had to be fake. Then Ryan called me, not to apologize, to ask me to move my belongings out of his apartment, the apartment I'd been paying for. Apparently, Sophia had already picked out new furniture. When I reminded him who paid for medical school, he laughed. "You invested in the wrong person." Then he hung up. I cried for exactly 1 day. On day 2, I started rebuilding. I found a receptionist job at Ashford Medical Group. Ironically, the hospital owned by Sophia's family. Nobody there knew who I was. Nobody knew I was Ryan's ex. I kept my head down, worked hard, stayed invisible. 3 months later, everything changed. One afternoon, an elderly man collapsed in the hospital lobby. Doctors were minutes away. I wasn't. My mother had been a nurse. She taught me CPR when I was 12. Without thinking, I started chest compressions. Kept him alive until the emergency team arrived. The man survived. His name? Richard Ashford, Sophia's grandfather, the billionaire founder of the hospital. A week later, I was called to his office. He thanked me, then asked an unexpected question. "Why is someone as capable as you answering phones?" I laughed awkwardly. "Life happened." He smiled. "I'd like to give you another chance." He offered me a position in hospital administration. Triple the salary, training included. I accepted immediately. Over the next 2 years, I worked harder than I ever had. Richard became my mentor, not because he pitied me, because he respected effort. Then came the first twist. Richard eventually discovered I knew Ryan. He assumed we were old classmates. I didn't correct him until one evening. He found an old scholarship receipt. My name, Ryan's tuition, my payments, everything. He looked confused. "Why were you paying for my grandson's fiancé's education?" I finally told him the truth. Everything. The 6 years, the betrayal, the apartment, the humiliation. Richard didn't interrupt once. When I finished, he quietly said, "So that's why he panics whenever you're around." Apparently Ryan had never told Sophia or anyone else. Then came the second twist. Richard launched an internal audit, not because of me, because he suddenly questioned Ryan's character. The audit uncovered something much worse than cheating. Ryan had falsified research data, accepted gifts from pharmaceutical companies, and taken credit for another doctor's work. Within weeks, his medical license was suspended. Sophia immediately ended the engagement, not because of me, because she realized she'd been lied to too. Then Ryan showed up at my office, looking exhausted, desperate. He asked me to convince Richard to stop the investigation. I smiled politely. "The truth doesn't stop being true because it's inconvenient," he begged, actually begged. For a second, I remembered the boy I once loved. Then I remembered every overnight shift, every tuition payment, every lie. I simply stood up, opened my office door, and said, "This conversation is over." He walked out, defeated. That should have been the ending. But life had one more surprise. About a year later, Richard invited me to dinner. He wanted me to meet someone. His grandson, not Sophia's brother, his other grandson, Daniel. Daniel had spent years running the family's hospitals overseas, unlike Ryan. He introduced himself by asking about my bakery dreams after reading my employee file. Not my job title, not my salary, my dreams. We became friends, then close friends, then something neither of us expected. Love, real love. The kind that doesn't need rescuing, or proving, or sacrificing yourself to earn. When Daniel proposed, he did it in the hospital garden. Not with cameras, not with reporters, just the two of us. And one old billionaire secretly watching from a window with tears in his eyes. At our wedding, Richard gave a speech. "I thought Emma saved my life the day she performed CPR. He smiled at me. I was wrong. She saved this family. Today, I'm Chief Operations Officer of Ashford Medical Group. Daniel and I have 2 beautiful children. And every year, on Ryan's graduation anniversary, I donate a full medical scholarship to one student who can't afford tuition, because kindness should never be wasted on the wrong person. But it should never stop existing either. The greatest revenge wasn't watching Ryan lose everything. It was realizing I had finally built the life I deserved. Without him, what would you have done if the person you sacrificed everything for betrayed you at the finish line? Did Ryan deserve a second chance, or was karma enough? Comment below what you think.